Hello, everybody. It's me, Ross, and welcome to another edition of the Monday Recap. The return. Me and Liam are back every Monday to round up the weekend's action and look forward to the week ahead. Of course, a lot has happened at the club since we did a Monday Recap, and the reason why we haven't recorded one for a while is because of what's been going on, and also I've been on furlough once a week in March, so that's the reason why. But Liam, we're back. I'm getting hairier by the day, but good news before we get started. Because, of course, the bad news is there's another goalless draw. But I'm getting a haircut on Tuesday, Liam, tomorrow. So I cannot wait for that. But thanks for joining me, Liam, as ever. Let's get into the drab goalless draw. The third goalless draw in 4 games for Town against MK Dons. But then we're 3 points off the playoffs, which is just... League One is mad. Your snap verdict on the game, my friend.
Nah. There's not much to say, is there, really? It was slightly better than Rochdale in the fact that I was actually a lot more impressed with the pressing. I thought they pressed quite well throughout the game, showed a lot of energy in trying to win the ball back. But it's been the problem all season. Absolutely nothing up front. But it's like what I've just said to you off air. I just don't get... I can take that some of these players maybe are out of their depth and some of these players maybe are over the hill, and the clear out needs to happen, as we've all said. But I just some of these players that we keep going on about, like Bishop and Dazelle, I just want to see them. I know they've got tactical instructions to carry out and they're trying to play in a formation, but the best players in the world, and I'm not saying they are, but the best players in the world, they do things spontaneous. They do something off the cuff, and I just would like to see from some of these players, if they are as good as we all think some of them are, to just do something spontaneous, do something that suddenly changes the course of a game, grabs it by the scruff of the neck. Because at this level, if we think that this squad should be comfortably in at least the top 2 of League One, let alone the playoff positions, then those players should have that ability at this level to be able to do something different. But another 0-0, it's a real loss of points, really, with other teams, i.e. Portsmouth, losing that we didn't expect. But we're still in it, which is in some ways very annoying because I just want the season to end now. But in other ways, if as I've said, if we can get to the Championship, somehow manage to grind it to it, then this exciting summer that we've got coming up is going to be just off the chart. If it's going to be spending for Championship football next season, so. Got to keep the faith, but at the same time, it's just really difficult to watch at the moment.
Yeah, because the new dawn, we were excited all week, when the news broke on Wednesday and all the other interviews that has been going out, and then we look forward to Saturday, hoping there's going to be just something different. But I forgot to mention in the intro, no shots on target once again for the second straight game, which is not good. And as you said about the players, like all of the players, a lot of them out of contract. So a big summer ahead for us as a club. 2 positives from the game, actually. Flynn Downs made his return, and also Tristan Nydam, who's been out, of course, with his injuries. It's been a tough 2-3 years for him. Of course, he had a brief loan spell in Scotland, which wasn't very good. And then he, of course, got injured in pre-season in 2019. And, it's been a tough few years for him. But the positive from Saturday was him making his return. What do you think of him? He was lively, weren't he?
Yeah, I think coming on, he showed a bit of energy, and I thought actually on the ball he was pretty decent. He didn't look overly rusty. The ball did stick most of the time, and he got himself into some good positions. Again, though, the final ball, whoever it is for Town, is lacking, which means we don't create a lot, but he looked very lively, and I mean, I can't remember now. Is he one of the players out of contract? Yeah. So, I mean, it's a very tough one because Cook wants to bring in his own players, and I mean you'll only just now be able to get to see what Nydam is all about because of the time he's been out. And with his past record, do you take a chance and give him an extra contract? It's difficult. It's a really difficult one. That one could go either way. I mean, it'd be nice maybe to give him another chance and keep him in the squad, not just send him out on loan again and see what he can do. But on the other side, it wouldn't surprise me if he was one of the release players just because of his injury record and the fact that he hasn't been able to really have a chance to show anything. Downs being back is huge because I think, as I said in the last section, if Town are going to get into these playoffs and somehow miraculously get themselves into the Championship, then they need the three key players back playing, and that's obviously Downs, who I think is the player at the very beginning of that list. Then obviously Norwood, because he's the only one that seems to know where the net is, and then Vincent Young, who can give us a bit of drive down that right hand side. So there's if we could get those three back, and just for the few games at the end of the season, could make a big difference. But it is positive seeing those two back. But just back to the point I made in the first bit about spontaneity. No shots on target. Well, if you can't get into the box to have a shot, then why doesn't someone maybe just at the edge of the box take a shot, have a go at goal, see what you can do? At the end of the day, there's no one in the ground. They're not going to get on your back. So if it goes over, it's not going to make a difference. But just do something. But I think we're going to struggle, to be honest, to get into the playoffs. We don't score enough goals. And if Norwood is fit and can score, he breaks down after 2 or 3 matches. So,
yeah. Of course, a fun fact, if you didn't know about this, when Marcus Evans, the era of his takeover, his first game was also a goalless draw. So there we go. So the new era bounce is always sometimes a goalless draw. So there we go. Fun fact there. But before we get on to the week ahead, good news all round for the Youth Cup team. We're going to talk about Paul Cook, of course, missing the presser. But I just want to quickly mention the Youth Cup win. They're through to the quarter-finals, the under-18s, after beating Middlesbrough 1-0. It was a lunchtime kickoff on Saturday. A long trip for the boys to Middlesbrough, but they won. LB Arman scoring the goal. Quarter-finals for them. Not far away now until they get into the final of that. Of course, we won it back in 2005. We won it twice in the 70s as well. So could they end the season with winning the Youth Cup? They've got Bristol City or Sheffield United in the quarterfinals. So we'll wait and see how they get on against them. But over to Paul Cook then, Liam. He missed 2 press conferences, the pre-match and after-match. Your thoughts? We jokingly said off camera. I'll let you say it. But a lot of people their minds are wandering about, oh God, what's going on here? Is he unhappy about what's happening, the takeover and stuff?
Well, I jokingly said to you, maybe he's finally lost his voice, because we've all commented about his change of voice during press conferences, how hoarse he is after shouting pretty much for 90 minutes. So yeah, maybe he's just decided that he was going to be asked loads of questions about the takeover. Maybe he doesn't want to answer too many questions on that and try and focus on the football. And so he just decided to release the reins a little bit, to slink into the background. I don't think there's too much of a deal. I mean, people made a big deal about Lambert not doing it, and I think there was a bit of Lambert didn't like doing them, and then what Lambert came out with was always criticised anyway because utter rubbish what he was saying. I do think it was a bit disrespectful to the press, frankly. But I mean, Paul Cook's missed the pre-match presser for this, which after the week that had happened, I think you can forgive him for maybe not coming out and speaking, because I'm sure a lot of the questions would have been takeover orientated rather than the game. And then after the game, well, what can you say? It's the same old crap again. He may as well, if he wants to take a break from doing press conferences, he may as well ask someone for a recording from from one of his first games in charge and just wheel that out every week, because it is just the same rhetoric each week about we try this, we try that, it isn't working, the players are struggling, we need a bit of help, we need some changes, but we can't do that until the summer. So it's just going to be the same old until the end of the season, I think. So frankly, I feel sorry for him, because people will say, try and get a different tune, come on, but how can he when the players just seem to get worse? It's just ridiculous.
Of course, he has spoken to the press this Monday morning for the Women's game, of course, and talking about the takeover. So he is still here. He is speaking to the press, but as you said, he's probably just sick and tired of his own voice now and losing his voice and about what's been going on. But we've got a game this Tuesday.
I don't think. I don't. I think he probably. I know he's saying he didn't know, but I think he knew what was. I think the takeover. There's too many coincidences, especially from the Athletic at the very beginning, who said that when this takeover goes through, that they want to bring Cook in. Well, I can't imagine that Paul Cook, even though he said it, and I think he was just doing that to obviously keep the peace and make sure that things behind the scenes get done smoothly. I just think he surely knew what was going on behind the scenes. And I think there was probably a bit of negotiation between Evans and the Americans when Lambert was axed about their view about who they want going forward, and obviously I think they've come to the conclusion of Cook. So I don't really understand this whole he's going to walk, he's not very happy about the new owners and stuff. I think people are reading far too much into these two press conferences that he missed. As you say, he's fronted up this morning, he's discussed it, maybe not completely truthfully. I still do think he had an idea about what was going on. But who knows? Maybe he did want to sign for Ipswich because of Evans, but I'm not sure why. But that's his prerogative. But at the end of the day, I think it would just be a complete and utter embarrassment for the club if after 7 games Paul Cook left because of a takeover that's supposed to be positive, not negative.
Yeah, well, we won't go down that road just yet. We'll have to wait and see what happens. But Paul Cook, of course, will be in charge on Tuesday. AFC Wimbledon is the opponents. Town travelled to Plough Lane for the first time, the new Plough Lane. Wimbledon, they won 5-1 on the weekend, so they can score goals. So is it going to be 3 0-0 draws in a row, Liam? What do you reckon? Can we score a goal? Of course, Wimbledon, they're fighting for their lives. They're currently outside the relegation zone. But, Wimbledon scored 5 goals on their travels against Accrington Stanley. Of course, Accrington are doing all right this season. They've had a weird season, really. They've had ups and downs of results. But what do you reckon, Wimbledon?
I couldn't tell you.
Please say a shot on target.
Well, it's difficult. If it had been at the ground that they were playing at last season, where they were sharing, obviously, I think it's the same ground that Chelsea women play at, then I think 0-0 was written all over it, because that's a very tight pitch. And I remember last season, Town struggled to break them down. And there wasn't a lot of space, and it was a pretty turgid game. I don't know how big Plough Lane is. I don't know if it makes the pitch slightly bigger and gives a little bit more space. But I wouldn't expect it to. I would expect it to be quite a tight ground again. And I'm sure when supporters are back in, then that'll be quite a decent atmosphere for a small ground right on top of you. So I would love to say there'll be a shot on target. I think a lot of it depends on the team. I mean, we all looked a little bit surprised when Drinan and Dobra were starting together, especially dropping Judge, because I think Judge is the only one that you can give a little bit of credit. Not everything comes off, but you can see him wanting the ball and running around for it. So I think he's the only one that you can give in the last, well, since Christmas, really, this new year, the only one that you can give credit. And he has had bad games. I'm not saying that he has been brilliant, but I think he's been better than most of the others. So it was a shock to see him dropped. But it didn't change. So I don't know, really. Unless Norwood is fit, then I just don't know where this goal or shot on target is coming. And as you said, Wimbledon have just gone and scored 5 at Accrington, who are supposedly, I think, falling away now. I don't think they'll get the playoffs, but that they were in this group of clubs that were potentially looking at the playoff. So that's a pretty big scalp for Wimbledon, who, as you say, are fighting for their lives. So I really don't know. It's hard to predict anymore. You want to say positive things, but you just don't see where it's coming at the moment. So it would not surprise me. I'm not going to make a prediction because at the end of the day, I'll probably have egg on my face. But it would not surprise me if it's another 0-0, to be honest.
Okay. I just want a shot on target, please. Just a shot on target. And we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, I hope not. Yes. But it wouldn't surprise me. It would be the least surprising thing to happen tomorrow if it was 0-0.
Yeah. Of course, the game is an early kickoff, 6:30. So maybe that early kickoff will bring a bit of life into the squad, possibly. But we'll have to wait and see. Liam, thank you very much for joining me on the return of the Monday recap. The new dawn has begun, and it's on the pitch, not so good. Off the pitch, happy days all around. Let us know in the comments down below your thoughts on the 0-0 draw, the return of Tristan Nydam, what you think of the Wimbledon game. Paul Cook missing the press conferences. Do you care? What do you think about it? Let us know. Of course, make sure to follow us on all the Kings of Anglia on all the socials and subscribe to the YouTube channel if you're watching on YouTube. I've been Ross, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.